So the Twitter post that I made about Kate Kosterski, she is a librarian. I actually don't know if she was a librarian, but she was at one point a librarian. She goes to librarian conferences, and she is the social media editor at multiversity.com or .org. I think it might be .org. So the big thing is she did this podcast review, and I got into a little back and forth with somebody because I said this is somebody who doesn't want to be in comics. This is the problem with the industry right now. And we are going to see she is heavily involved in the New York City social justice warrior arena as a whole. We're going to see that she may have ties with the Portland Comics Mafia and the Milkshake World Order. When I checked on her, she actually had me blocked. I never tagged her in anything. I didn't even know what her name was up until like 20 minutes ago when I looked her up. So we're going to see clearly from this podcast, and I think it's 7 minutes, so we're going to go through it together. But I want to show you what the issue I have with this is and why this is really bad for comics. Remember, New York Comic Con was turning real creators, and by real creators I mean people who actually work on comic books, writers, inkers, pencilers, and I saw some letterers also. But she was bragging on Humans of New York that she got a press pass. Nothing wrong with her getting a press pass, but when you're getting it and real comic pros aren't, what does that say about the industry? So she begins, and we're going to see how she got her job at Multiversity. I think it's very interesting.
So I actually joined Multiversity about 9 months ago. It just happened at that time. This is about spring, summer of last year. I had some other commitments related to my day job that were wrapping up, so I was finding myself with a lot of free time. And when I was in
the first thing that we should notice is that she only started this year ago.
In college, I did journalism. I was a writer and I was an editor for our college newspaper. And I thought, well, it might be nice to do that again. And again, having this free time, I had this backlog of comics and graphic novels that I really hadn't been reading. So I was like, let's put the two together and see what happens.
Let's see what happens. By the way, don't go out and harass her because we'll see. She wants to be harassed. She wants us to harass her because she thinks that Comicsgate is this boogeyman that just goes around flinging insults. And we're going to see that the male host thinks that we're just a bunch of misogynists, which is it's not the case. It's not the fact that you're a woman. It's the fact that you obviously don't want to be in this. You're utilizing this as another resume data point. That's the problem. You have actual people who want to be in the position that you're in, and you're just there because you have ancillary skills and you have connections. We're going to see this. You have connections into the industry. So let's continue. So please don't harass her.
I actually started over at Geeks Out, which is a nonprofit based in the New York City area where I live that works to amplify voices in the queer voices in the geek community. And I had done some blogging for them. And after I had a little bit of a portfolio, I sent stuff to Multiversity. I think I may have seen a link on Twitter. And our editor-in-chief, Brian, got back to me in an hour. Was like, welcome on board. So
that's it. That's all you need. That's all you need. Just send the portfolio. And I've seen her portfolio. And by portfolio, it's a website that just aggregates all of your reviews. I've seen her portfolio. There's nothing special there. Nothing at all. So is my allegation that they hired her because she is presumably a queer female? Perhaps. Maybe I think it's a little bit more sinister. I don't think it's just that service level. I think it's that coupled with the fact that we'll see, because this gentleman who does this podcast works at Multiversity also. We'll see there's a clear agenda that they're pushing. She meets that agenda, and therefore they want her on their side to push further their agenda. Let us continue.
So I worked my way from there. I did our micro reviews in our Wrapping Wednesday column up to the full reviews. And in December, Brian asked me if I'd be interested in doing the social media for the site. So I do our Facebook and Twitter. We do have a Tumblr. There's a lot of just cross-posting with Tumblr, but I mean...
Of course you have a Tumblr. Of course. I had zero doubt there was a Tumblr involved in this situation.
Mainly write the tweets that you see.
And there is, as someone who is trying to cut down on their Twitter usage at the moment, how is that... I found that kind of something that I was interested in, to talk to you about, because, using Twitter a lot. There's, especially in the geek community at the moment, there's obviously, the big BuzzFeed article has just gone out about trolls in the community and stuff. It's a huge problem. It's a huge issue. Is that something that's reared its ugly head for you personally, like dealing with multiversity, or?
No. And I have said to my significant other more than once, I'm a woman writing about comics on the internet. Yeah. I'm just sitting back and waiting for somebody to come after me, which I should not have to say.
You remember that issue of Iron Man where Riri Williams demanded to be harassed and objectified and told that you can't do this because you're a woman? This is literally what she's doing. This is when Diversity in Comics first spoke about that. It was mind-blowing to, I think, the majority of us, because, like, who in their right mind thinks this way? Who would think, I want you to oppress me? These people want that. They want that because with victimhood comes power in their communities. That's what it comes down to. That's why it was so easy. This is why I don't trust Bendis, because he was the one writing it. This is why it comes so easy for them. This is why this is what they want. They want to be oppressed. You just heard it right there. Come on. No, let's continue. It's only like 2 more minutes.
In 2018.
No.
Not when we...
Sorry, current year. It's 2018, guys.
We have a female doctor that's going to be on Doctor Who this year.
Exactly.
This is, why am I saying this in 2018? It should not be this way. We've been fortunate in that we haven't had Comicsgate come after us. Every once in a while we get people that don't really read directions. But we have not, as far as I know, and as far as I've been doing the Twitter, I've not experienced that level of harassment. And I'm thankful, but I'm also very guarded that it's sadly only a matter of time.
Yeah.
Do you hear the fear that it's only a matter of time? That's why I don't want anybody talking to her. But do you hear, like, the fear in her voice? I don't know if she's been brainwashed or if she's an active participant in attempting to goad people into bullying her. This is somebody who wants to be bullied. Why? As somebody who was bullied frequently, I do not wish anybody be bullied the way I was bullied. It was horrible. It was horrible growing up, especially when I first came to this country. And what's it called? The names you get called are horrendous. And like, I didn't speak the languages. Now I consider myself fluent in this language. But it was really brutal growing up. But you know, I grew up. I adapted. I stood up to the bullies, and now I don't get bullied anymore. But this is somebody who objectively wants to be bullied. And also, did you hear the phrasing? I want you to notice the phrasing that they use, because you're going to hear the podcast host utilize the same phrasing. Comicsgate was attacking them. He actually explains what Comicsgate is. This is what they think Comicsgate is. Pay very close attention. This is very important.
I mean, again, like, as you say, like, being a female writer on the internet in general, and especially with, like, comics at the moment, that is, you know, putting a target on your back for no reason, you know, or having a target on your back, not putting one. And they seem to just pick on that. You know, me personally, again, take it as, like, kind of a cis-het white writer, male writer. I have not seen anything but positive.
First of all, you hear her heavy breathing like she's running a fucking marathon. Like, I'm sorry, what are you doing? What are you doing? Are you eating cheese? Please stop. But I'm sorry, I digress. But you notice that when he speaks, he needs to first just genuflect towards the SJW goddesses and say, I know I am but a lowly white cis male heteronormative male writer, but you know, he has to do that. Why? That's horrible. Why don't you say, I am a writer, this is what I've done, this is what I do? Like, that's what should define you. Your actions should define you. Nobody remembers El Cid for being a white male. Actually, I think he might have been Arab. But they remember him for the actions that he did in Spain during the Reconquista and kind of being a traitor, but that's a little different.
Positivity regarding multiversity comics. I think we've got quite a strong statement of who we are, and I think that is that attracts the right kind of people, and that attracts, like, people who care about comics and people who want to hear kind of positive, thoughtful criticism of comics as well. And so I count myself lucky to be part of a website like that. But at the same time, you know, there aren't any websites out there, you know, apart from maybe sites that kind of skirt kind of scandal and things like that. There's no other websites out there that deserve this kind of vitriol, you know. So I think, you know, me saying our site is good and therefore it doesn't get harassment kind of implies that there are other sites out there that deserve it, and that's not at all true. I think it's I think it just becomes someone's time at some point, and it's it's disgusting. It's kind of a low point of the thing that we do, and the thing that we want to write about. We want to. All of us are here because we love it, and.
But what do you love? Do you love comics, or do you love playing the victims? Do you love pushing this narrative that you so artfully have created?
So listeners who haven't seen this BuzzFeed article, there's an article going around that is really well written, really well really well researched, and really thoughtfully put together, and reaches a more mainstream audience than it would do on the usual sites like CBR or Comic Book or Bleeding Cool.
All of our best friends, guys. Now, I want you to listen very carefully, because he almost says the words diversity in comics, and he purposefully doesn't. He catches himself.
And it details Comicsgate, which is, the name for the vitriol and hatred that's kind of circulating at the moment, that is in backlash to diversity, in diversity and inclusion in comics.
Did you catch that? He didn't want to say diversity in comics, because lest you look up diversity in comics, catch Zach and see what he actually says. This is the problem. This is not what Comicsgate is. The Comicsgate is a backlash. I won't lie. It is a backlash, but it's a backlash to this ideological takeover that has permeated all of comics. It's permeated the big two companies, and it's completely laid waste to the indie companies. Does IDW need to declare bankruptcy for you people to see what's going on? This is ridiculous.
Comics. So, screw us for trying to, wanting to involve everyone.
It's not a matter about wanting to involve everyone. You can involve anyone. Anyone can pick up a pen and start writing. Anybody could pick up a pencil and start drawing. Joelle Jones is female, I presume. I've seen pictures of her, but I don't want to be presumptuous, and I think she's one of the top 5 artists right now working in comics. So what the hell is wrong with you people? Brian Hill, who I am the staunchest advocate for, because I think his work is amazing, I think he's going to do a fantastic job on Detective Comics, is black. Are we trying to exclude him? No, because he knows what he's doing. He clearly has a love, and this is the thing, because you could profess your love for comics all you want, but it shows through your work. Erica Henderson does not care about comics. Bendis, at least when he was in Marvel, did not care about anything.
Involve as many people as possible. How dare we,
Exactly.
It's this victimizing of themselves that they want so badly to be the victims.
Yeah, my comics are better because I see all kinds of people in them. I'm still very much heartbroken that Iceman got canceled by Marvel.
Iceman got canceled by Marvel because nobody bought it. Because your group didn't buy it. Because your group doesn't buy comics.
America, which I have to finish reading, but also got canceled by Marvel.
America is the Mendoza line for horrible comics. America Chavez is quite possibly the worst comic ever created in the history of the world. Nobody, when Plato wrote about the forms, he could not have conceived of a worse book than America Chavez.
And I keep hearing rumors, and I hope that they never come to pass, that Ms. Marvel is on the chopping block.
Oh my god. If Miss Marvel goes on the chopping block, it's going to be because her sales are horrible. Not because we don't like Muslim characters. Green Lanterns who have a Muslim and a Hispanic woman. It's not that. It's that your writers have not been able to tell a good, coherent story. This is foolishness.
I still feel like it's interesting that's a book that it seems like it's been on the chopping block, but yet, and it's been, at least so far, I think it's been staved by the fact that it does really well it's one of those books that does really well in other circles, like in the other outlets, like bookstores. And I think it does well. I think it's one of those that does well as Scholastic stuff too, like Squirrel Girl and Moon Girl and Devil Dinosaur.
That's because Scholastic only has like 2 books in it. It's ridiculous.
Yep, those are books that do well in trade. My younger sister.
It doesn't do well in trade. The reason that those books are still that book in particular is still there is because G. Willow Wilson is the creator of it, and Sana Amanat that is who I think is actually leading the company. That is a clear favorite of her. This whole thing's foolish. This whole thing's ridiculous. I'm not going to play anymore. I just wanted to give you guys a taste of what it was. I'll catch you guys later.